Hola everybody, QVOLE, ¿cómo estás? This is OG. Just decided to do a video today. I'm right here at home. It's about a little bit before 9 p.m. Anyways, I had some things in my mind as I usually do, and today I saw a video of a girl on American Idol. I forgot her name. She sang a song. Darn it, I should have wrote it down. I got a bad memory, people. I'm sorry, but I think the song was called "It's Okay," and she was battling cancer. She had cancer, and I think she said spine, liver, and somewhere else. And so I was watching the video today, and apparently the reason why somebody shared that video was because, well, as she talked on her story, they had asked her how is she, and she says I'm not doing too good. And she told me she had three different organs in her body that had cancer. And it was really just heartfelt, big time. Just very sad. Even the crowd just really got silence and just really felt bad for her. And then she sang her song, and the song was beautiful. And it was called "It's Okay." And she had a smile on her face, and she seemed to be in peace. She seemed to glow, and it seemed, she wanted to go there. She had a beautiful voice. She wanted to go there and let her song be heard. And ironically, the title, being "It's Okay," um, today's video said "Rest in peace." She lost her battle with cancer. And then it just makes me, of course, I got emotional. You know, I look the way I look. I don't portray to be a tough guy at all. Um, I've had a lot of issues in my past childhood life. And so things like this touch my heart. And that story really touched my heart today. I felt bad for her. She seemed like a beautiful soul with a beautiful voice. And she's no longer here. I believe she was like 27 years old. I don't know exact date or year. I think she said she was 27. And she wanted to be known by a certain name, something to do with a bird. I wish I would have wrote it down. Sorry about that. But, I just thought about it after I heard it today. And I'm like, man, fly on. Fly on. Go live your life now. Go be at peace. No more pain. No more cancer. It made me really think about her. I think about my life. Um, as some of y'all either know or don't know, I had a horrible childhood. I've mentioned it maybe before. Mental abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse as a little kid. I just turned 58 years old a couple of days ago. And even at 58, I mean, it's been 50 years since, all these childhood things have happened to me. But even though it's been 50 years, it still bothers. It still bothers. So I sad to say, in my young age, um, I turned to alcohol, and then I turned to drugs, and by the time I was 15, I was ready in the streets. By the time I was 19, I was in prison. And the hard thing about it was, at that age, at that young age, what do you know as a kid? What do you know? All you know is that you've been hurt all your life. And the ones that hurt me were familia, so-called familia. I never understood it. It wasn't an outsider. It wasn't a neighbor. It wasn't a gangbanger. It was none of that. It was familia, So, you learn to respect familia I don't understand that. As a kid, I respected familia, even though they didn't respect me, right? But not knowing, who to talk to about it, what to say about it. Um, of course, I turned to alcohol because that's the closest thing around. Whether you're sneaking a drink from here or there, it's a party's going on and you start liking it. From sneaking alcohol, you start doing drugs, whether you're smoking weed or doing coke or whatever. And sad thing about it, it's baby steps to worse drugs. So I realized, and when I went to prison at 19, it was almost like my destination. It was like, yeah, this is it's where I'm meant to be. It's home for me. You know, it always blew my mind that when I was being travieso in the streets at a young age, no one ever cared. Familia or anybody never, no one ever cared. No one ever cared enough to say, hey, mijo, you're going down the wrong road. I love you. I don't want to see you get in trouble. What's going on with you? What's the problem? What are you needing attention? Are you needing a hug? Or, what's going on with you? I see that you're messing up. No one cared. No one asked, So in the streets, you get invited to go hang out and, party and women and, music and whatever happens is going to happen. You were invited to be there. You felt like you were part of. With familia, I never felt that. I never felt part of anything with my family. It was just very sad. So yeah, I remember when in county, of course, fighting the courts and going through the court procedures. I remember one day because I had already been in the county a few times, 6 months or whatever, a year, doing time, different times. It didn't matter to me. I didn't mind going there. I didn't mind going there at all. It was a good place for me, especially in the winter months. There's no jobs, there's nothing going on. Go to county, hang out for the winter. I knew everybody there. I didn't have it bad at all, even at a young age. So, I wound up getting locked up. I remember I went to CDC. They bust us over there, and it was crazy because I was looking at the guidance center, the big old giant building, and it was hard to believe that I was there. Well, let me back it up a little bit. So I remember in county, you would wear like a certain clothes to be as you're going through court. Once you got sentenced, you wear a different color, like a trustee color. So it was like a blue color when you first got there, and then it was an orange color once you had your sentencing or you were a trustee. And then anybody that was going to go to prison would wear green. So you would see all the veteranos in green all the time. It was normal. They had already been to the joint, they already known who they were. Everybody knew them, right? And I remember one day it was it was a linen change, and they called my name up to the, to get my clothes, right? And I never dawned on it. It never dawned on me that, I knew I was going to go to prison. I was already going to the courts and, the bargains or whatever they were trying to give me, right? But I honestly had forgot about the clothes. So one day in county, being a young kid, man, they handed me a green roll and everybody was shocked. They're like, man, youngster, you going to the joint? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, man, you scared or this or that? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not scared. And I think because I was raised in that lifestyle with familia, other familia that were very well known within the life, of lockup. And I knew, all the homies that used to go around. I already knew everybody. And yeah, sure enough, I was wearing greens and I was a young kid, and people tripped out, like I said. And so I wound up going to CDC. And I remember as I was driving up to the big White House of lockup, my thoughts were actually like, man, I made it to the White House. That was my thought. I made it to the White House. I'm here. And I looked at it like if I was home. It was a trip because who would think that? Who would think like I'm home now? But honestly, those are my thoughts. My thoughts were, yeah, this is home. This is where I belong. And I was okay with it. And I don't glorify the life. I don't try to be gangster. I'm not a gangbanger. I'm not none of that stuff. It was just a travieso with nobody, no with no one that cared enough to lead me in a better direction or a different direction. Or I didn't understand school. I as a young kid, I remember my mom had a janitorial service. So at night, I would go clean buildings at night, and I would sleep during the day, and I didn't go to school. So I didn't understand school. Um, I went to ninth grade for about a month. I went 10th grade for a month. I went to 11th grade for a month, and then I didn't go no more. I wound up getting a job washing dishes at a restaurant. Um, just didn't bother no more. I mean, what am I gonna do? I don't understand. I'm sitting in the classroom like a class clown because I don't know what to do. So I wind up just not even going no more. And sure enough, by that time you're already living that street life. So you know, the story about the girl that lost her life to cancer, it always reminded me of sad to say, the stupid choices that I made doing drugs. I went through all my hurts and pains of people hurting me mentally, physically, and sexually. And I didn't, as a kid, I lived in so much fear. I didn't know how to get help. I didn't know who to go to or who to talk to. Just lived in fear and lived in silence and lived in anger. Um, so that's where the drugs and the alcohol came. I didn't realize that I had anxieties, depression, a nervousness, fear. I didn't know that I was dealing with all that stuff. So um, when I started drinking and doing drugs, not really realizing it, but I didn't have I didn't have fear. I didn't have anxieties. I didn't have nervousness. I didn't have none of that. I felt good. And I didn't realize why. So, like I said, as time went on, you're, getting in trouble or whatever the case might be, just being travieso and not making good choices. But I knew deep down inside that, after getting locked up in county, eventually I would go to prison, and I did. And when I got there, I really felt like I made it. I felt like, wow, I made it. I made it to prison. And it's very sad because that wasn't nothing, for me personally. Um, what else did I have? There was not one person really reaching out to show me any difference. And for some reason, the streets always had love for me, and I had love for them. So that was the life that I lived. And I don't put nobody down. I don't disrespect anybody at all. Everybody has to do what they have to do. We're all adults. We're all men, and we have to make choices. And so I wound up getting 3 years, and I did my time. And I had to start focusing, and I was only in a level 2 prison. Nothing major, nothing bad at all. So I go to Avenal. Actually, I went to Avenal level 2, and I had to really think about it. And it's like, okay, well, you went to your guidance center. Now you're in Avenal. What's your next move? What is it you're going to do? Are you going to continue this life? Or are you going to make a change? You have to make a choice, because whatever you're going to do, it's going to be 100%. Whether you're going to stay and live this life, catch life, take a life, I don't know. No one knows, until that time happens. So I wind up getting paroled in 1988. I paroled, and it was crazy because I never thought I would see 25. I wound up paroling, and I wasn't at my best. When I first got out, you still have that mentality when you first went in, while you're in, now you're out. So I was still making a little bit of mistakes, nothing too crazy, nothing that got me sent back at least. But again, I had to make a choice. It's like at that time I had two kids. Um, my little girl was born, and then I got locked up, and then by the time I got out, she was already 3. She was walking around and doing 3-year-old stuff. What people don't understand though is that even though her mom took her to go visit me as a little baby, she didn't know who I was. It was very sad. So the time that I lost out with, like, just say the first 3 years of her life that I lost out on, I wound up seeming to lose to this day all these years with her. I got 6 kids, and she's 35 now, and we're not really close. And it's unfortunate how those first 3 years impacted our life. From then on, I wind up having, so that's the first 2. Then I had number 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 3, 4, 5, and 6 are real close to me. I was in their life. I was still messing up lightly a little bit, still on drugs. And, I went through a lot of issues, personal issues. I never had love in my life. I didn't know what love was. And I would turn to drugs for love. For some crazy reason, women would like to, they would love to, spend time with me. I don't know why, but they did. So I always had women in my life, and I always had drugs. But I never had love. And a lot of women would wonder, like, how can you don't settle down? How can you don't behave? You're always travieso, and you're always here, and you're there, and you're unpredictable. And man, bro, it's like, you need to slow down. And I didn't know how. But what it was is that anybody that lightly started loving me, I would be gone, because I didn't know what love was. I used to always say, you can like me, but you can't love me, because I don't know what that is. And it was very unfortunate, because as a young kid, that's all I truly desired was love. So I went through, like I said, my hurts, my pains, didn't know how to deal with it. So I used drugs and alcohol, my choice, my bad choice. Not only are you dealing with all the issues that you personally deal with, then you add alcohol and drugs on top of it, just makes it a whole lot worse. Not a good mix at all. So I remember one day I was on drugs, and I was gone for 3-4 days, and I remember my daughter, the third in lineup, my daughter, she was a little baby, like, she would talk and walk, so I don't know exactly what her age was, 5 maybe, I don't know. And I felt so much shame to talk to her, because she was so happy to see me, but I was disgusted in seeing me, knowing what I was doing. And I didn't want to be around her, because, she's a baby, precious baby. And I was just in my dope, ugly and sad to say, And I remember I wouldn't look at her, and she would say, look, Dad, I drew you this picture, Dad. I made this, she would make little cartoon pictures for me like little kids do. And I would say, oh, okay, baby, that's nice. Thank you. And I wouldn't want to look at her in shame. And one day she grabbed me by my face, and she says, Dad, look it, I made this for you, and I'm trying to show you. And I couldn't turn my face from her, because she grabbed my face. And when I was looking at her, because she was holding my face, I cried. And I cried because I realized that I've been looking for love all my life. Love that I didn't receive from my mother or anybody else for that matter. All I got is violence, ugly life. And yet here's this little girl that just loves me unconditionally. And it's a trip because the one thing I desired, God knew what I desired in my heart. But He gave me love in a different form. He gave me love through my kids. And I realized that day, like, you know what? You've been looking for mother's love all your little young life. But God sent you love in a different form. And I understood it that day. And I told myself, ya estuvo. Ya estuvo. That's it. I have to stop. I have to stop because this little girl loves you. By that time I had my son, he was not even a year old yet. And I told myself, you know what? You got these little ones that love you. It's time to stop now. My daughter's 33. I'm 58 now. My son's 30. I got my other kids también. And I'm glad I made that change. Gracias a Dios that, He gave me a different form of love, but love is love, man. And who would have known? Who would have known? It's like it came in the form of a baby. And I was glad to have that. So, today, those are my thoughts because when that lady lost her life, through cancer, it made me reflect on, myself and my choices, wrong choices that I made. I remember one day I saw a little boy that was about 5, 6 years old, and he had to take insulin. And unfortunately, I used to do some hardcore drugs. And when I saw him having to take an insulin shot so that he could eat his food, they had to check his blood first, and his blood was too high in order for him to eat. And so they had to give him a shot. And I happened to turn around and look right when they did it, and he just closed his eyes, pobrecito, little boy. And he had to take a shot in order to bring that sugar down so that he can eat again later. And it's very unfortunate because he had to take a shot to live, and I was taking a shot to die. Wow. I was literally taking a shot to die. I don't know how many times I thought I was just going to overdose and I was going to die, and that was going to be it. And there was probably a couple of close ones, but it never happened. And gracias a Dios, I'm still here today. I'm sober. Been sober off everything. 20 years. Who would have known? So I started off early in life with a lot of kids. Jail, fighting, drugs, alcohol, prison, at an early age in life. Now that I'm 58 years old, I really don't have much. I don't have a 401k set up. I'm currently unemployed right now. I've been a troquero for 33 years. I've been trucking California, Arizona, Nevada. I did a lot of Yuma, Phoenix, Nogales, all of California, LA to the Bay, SAC, all over, Reno, Nevada. And my kids are all fine. They're all adults. I got a big family. I got 11 grandkids now. But, I don't know who, people call me OG. I didn't name myself that. They just started calling me OG, And my last name's Rocha. And my dad's a troquero. And he retired at 75 as a troquero. So everybody used to call my dad, my jefito, they call him Roach. On the CB trucker handle. Hey, Roach. Hey, Roach. So when I started driving truck, they used to call me Little Roach. And I would tell him, no, man, that's my dad's. That's his. He's the one and only Roach. That's him. I won't share that title. That's him. Con respecto. I mean, that's him. That's all him. So they start calling me Rocha. Hey, Rocha. And so everybody started calling me Rocha. And then people that didn't know me, honestly, I didn't know if I knew them or I didn't know them, because they would just say, "What's up, OG?"
And I'll just say QVOLE. The word QVOLE I got from one of my tios. He passed away now, and he always had a lot of respect. And he would always say that, QVOLE. I remember him. Good man. He was a real good man. So that's where my word QVOLE comes from. It comes from him. I'll never forget him. He was good to me. He was, old generation, con respecto, and that's where that word comes from. And whether it's a social media or whatever, I just have that habit of saying QVOLE because of him. It's respect. I in my life, OG, I don't know what that, I don't consider myself an old gangster. I don't like to be called an old gangster. I'm not in a gang. I've never been part of a gang. I have my look. Who I look like is who I am. But I'll take OG because OG to me refers to as older generation, and that's what I go by. Because I was raised through the older generation, and that I'll take. That's respect. But like I said, back to my topic. I'm very sorry to see that young girl die. Man, she had cancer in 3 different organs of her body. Not 1, not 2, but 3. What a battle she fought. And she had a beautiful smile. And she sang really good. She was so young. And it reminded me of the story when I would take shots so that I could die. And that little boy would take shots so that he could live. She died at 27, and I was 57 a couple of days ago. Now I'm 58. I was 30 years older than her, ex-drug addict, ex-alcoholic, ex-felon, and I'm still here. Wow. You talk about mind-blowing. I'm still here, gracias a Dios. I thank God every day that He's saved my life. I can't waste it on stupidity. I'm responsible for my choices. I used to always tell my kids, I can't get you out of everything. Your choices, your choices. I'm still trying to recover from my mistakes. I can only talk to you and try to help you and try to lead you in the right direction. But if you get in trouble and you get locked up, I can't do your time. That's something you'll have to do on your own. I'm just trying to help you. I try to raise my kids not to follow my footsteps. There ain't nothing gangster about the life that I lived. I have no education, no experience, no knowledge, no trade, no skills. Wow. I'm glad that I became a troquero when I did, because I've been trucking all my life. Another real quick topic is I still deal with nervousness. I still deal with anxieties. I still deal with fear. I still deal with, what was the other one? The 4th one, I forgot. I got a bad memory too. And I deal with it even worse now than then because I'm sober. Dealing with anxieties and depression, that's the 4th. When I had alcohol or drugs in my system, I didn't think about those things until I sobered up. Now I've been sober 20 years and I have to deal with it sober now. It's hard. It's hard. There's times I don't know how to deal with it. Sometimes I have to pull over and walk around the truck and take 10 minutes and just chill. I used to always say, what didn't kill us then, eventually it'll catch up, and it will. It'll kill us. It'll catch up. With all the drugs and, the use of hardcore heavy drugs, it pays its tolls eventually, and it catches up. So now I deal with it sober. And just grateful, man. I'm just grateful. Like I said, I've known young lives that had to take shots in order to live. I'm not on insulin. I deal with high blood pressure, that I deal with. But other than that, as of right now, that's about it. So at 58 years old, I'm grateful. I can say that for a fact, that I'm truly grateful that I'm still here. It's not a pretty story, gente, and I'm not out trying to I'm not trying to impress anybody with a so-called life out there that It's not about being macho or a tough guy or a cool guy or ain't nothing like that, man. I just want to be happy, live in peace, continue my sobriety, and share these videos. These videos are to help anybody who might be going through any kind of depression or anxiety or, you know, childhood trauma. And I'm OG Rocha. I am on social media. Look me up. Any kind of help you might need, let me know. I'll reach out. Reach out to me, and we'll talk about it. But with that being said, yeah, y'all have a good night. Te la suave. I always say keep it OG, because like I say, OG is older generation con respecto, and enjoy the cruise. My slogan that a lot of people know me by with enjoy the cruise, I always say, as long as you're not hurting yourself or no one else, whatever you like to do, whatever that is, whether you're hiking or camping or fishing or boating or riding a horse or drawing or painting or dancing or making music, llévate la suave and enjoy the cruise. Y'all have a good night.